well out of the pace that Nepal had set in the first innings. Nepal were 62 for 2 at this stage in their first innings after choosing to bat first at the toss. Welcome back to live coverage of match number 2, second T20I in this Stake Stars and Summit series. Watching on Willow TV in the USA, Kantipur TV back in Nepal. The early risers waking up in the morning to watch this contest. The battle between Gulshan Jha and Sai Mukamala continues as Mukamala strokes another single down the ground.
It's been an exciting first 2 games so far, Peter. This one's setting up to be a really exciting finish. Again, the USA ahead of the game at the moment. But a wicket here for Nepal, and you can just start to make inroads. We've seen for the USA at times in chases, you just create a couple of wickets. You just create the sense of confusion out there in the middle. They haven't had that real glue in that middle order. A lot of it rests on Anjes Gels and Saitej and Mukamala.
Well, they struggled chasing against the Netherlands in August. We're much better at it down in Namibia against Namibia and the UAE. And the 2 matches they played at this venue in the World Cup in June, that famous chase against Canada, and then a historic win against Pakistan. Can we call that one a successful chase? Because after all, the scores were level. They goofed up a bit at the end. They had that match in the bag, and they tried to make it as dramatic as possible by letting it go to the super over. Nitish Kumar very nearly was going to be the scapegoat. Wound up hitting a boundary off the final ball to send it to the super over. As Mukamala with a very firm drive, but picks out Rajan Dakal. Had it cover sweeper for just 1. And it took Aaron Jones and Saurabh Netravalkar in the super over to make everybody forget about the final 2 over sequence that Nitish Kumar had.
I would call it a success, Peter. You won the game. You got to the super over where you wanted. I think that's the key factor. And again, the big thing about the World Cup was that there was a sense of calm out there in the middle in those types of matchups. Again, Nitish Kumar's come in there in a position where he doesn't normally bat. That's more of a Shahin Gear spot to bat in. Nitish Kumar more of a top order player. Comes in against Haris Rauf with mid-off up in the ring and gets 4 runs. So that's what's missing right now on this side.
Well, they haven't had to go to the middle order because this partnership between Gauss and Mukamala has been so prodigious for USA over the last month and a half. Yeah, what I remember most about that final over and Nitish Kumar hitting the boundary off Haris Rauf, there was no celebration for him. It was a gigantic gulp in his throat. It was a sigh of relief. Thank God. At least I've kept the match going.
Well, there might not have been celebrations on the field from Nitish Kumar. There was plenty of celebrations off of it from everyone supporting the USA side of things.
Kamala fans on this one wants a wide, doesn't get it. He got the benefit of the doubt earlier against Gulshan Jha, Gulshan's first over in the 7th. This time Samir Bandekar sides with number 15 in the Nepal jersey.
I think Mukamala was undone by the movement he did across his stumps, moved outside the off stump on that occasion, and the wide line moves with the batter, and Samir Bandekar reckoned that it's inside where the wide line now was.
Another heave from Mukamala, fetches nothing. Another dot ball to end the over. 4 runs from it, 87 for 1 after 11.
Peter, we've spoken a lot about Mukamala and how good he's been, but Gulshan Jha needs to get a little tip of the cap here. In his 3 overs, just 17 runs. Hasn't picked up that wicket, but you can see him just start to add pressure onto Mukamala, who was, at this point, batting rather fluently, able to just to find runs, find singles at ease. Now you're seeing the pace off, the change in line and lengths, just creating some difficulty, even with this partnership being worth 83 from 56.
Well, what's impressive for me, he's 18, and you think, oh, wow, this is really remarkable for a youngster. And yet, he's got a whole lot of experience under his belt as Dipender Singh Irie comes into the attack. 30 ODIs, 36 T20Is at the age of 18. John made his debut against USA. Dipender Singh Ari into the attack for Nepal. Player of the match, taking 3 wickets 2 nights ago. Just going back to the point about Gulshan Jha, one of the amazing things about him, you look at his bio and say he's only 18 and this is remarkable for a youngster, but he's got 3 years of international cricket under his belt. He's played 30 ODIs. This is his 37th T20I for Nepal. He made his debut against USA in that first series after COVID that was held in Oman in September 2021. And then made his T20I debut against the Philippines in that World Cup qualifier in Oman when it was a split global qualifier. But he's showing the value of all those matches. And that's the Nepal way. That's the Nepal philosophy. Rohit Paudel made his debut at 15. And now Rohit Paudel, he's still in his early 20s, and he's already the captain of his country because he's got 6-7 years of cricket under his belt, which is incredible to think about. Most of these guys have made their debuts as teenagers. And this one is going to go wide of the fielder and beyond the boundary as well. That's an awfully big hit over that 84-yard boundary. But Sai Mukamala times it well enough to get 6, his 3rd of this innings.
Yeah, not the rosy start we saw from Dipender Singh Irie just 2 nights ago. Drags it down a little bit. Mukamala good enough as well. He was planted forward, but was able to transfer his weight late.
This time, muscles it down the ground. He's picked out the man on the boundary. And the pro-Nepal crowd erupts. Kushal Bertel had a spectacular night with the bat. He's continued it with a catch on the long-on boundary to dismiss Mukamala for 47. And this crowd comes back to life for the visitors.
Misses out on what would have been a brilliant half-century Mukamala. He just finds one for 6. He's just trying to muscle it. He hasn't gotten this off the middle of the bat and ends up being the simplest of catches. And look how much it means to Nepal. The crowd erupted. The big fist pump comes out as well as Mukamala goes back for a well-made 47 off of 40. United States, they're 96 for 2 after 12. Well, Peter, a much different set of circumstances for Aaron Jones in this matchup. He's in the position where you reckon he'd like to be. Ball's not nipping around. It's the last 10 overs. He's got an opportunity to just kind of play his natural game. And him and Andres Kraus have a tendency to do special things on this ground going back to that World Cup.
Yeah, the forgotten man in that World Cup chase. Andres Kraus. Everybody remembers Aaron Jones' 94 not out of 40, but Andres Kraus was right alongside him for the majority of that chase. And these two come together, hoping to conjure up some of that magic on this Grand Prairie Stadium wicket. Meanwhile, Dipender Singh Irie can't seem to do much wrong here in Texas. Took 2 wickets in his first over last night. Wraps up his first over tonight with a wicket. And that was the shot that Andres Kraus fell to a couple nights ago, and boy, oh boy, almost deja vu again. This time, he threads the needle to get 4.
Well, the scorecard will say it's just 4 runs, but Andres Kraus, as he's played it, has almost given a look of desperation, of despair, because it's very nearly carried to that third-man fielder. It's just gone to the left of him, and he's picked up 4 runs. 100 comes up for the USA as Andres Kraus moves into the 40s. It's been a good knock, but you feel as if the USA were to lose a wicket now, Nepal will be right back in this match.
This time, calmly plays it along the ground to the sweeper for 1. And it'll bring Jones on strike on his 30th birthday. USA vice captain, who played a starring role for the St. Lucia Kings in the CPL final, scoring 48 not out down in Guyana to win the CPL title. Comes into this match having made just 3, a very painstaking 3, before running himself out. And Dipendra Singh Airi was involved in that. Jones this time gets off the mark immediately with 1 out to the cover sweeper. Rajan Dakel collects.
Yeah, Peter, he's an exceptional cricketer. This is why he's here, though. You look at Mukamala, he's just looking to muscle it. Airi's gone a little bit flatter, a little bit quicker through the air. And he's connected well enough. It's just that Kushal Bartel's in the right place at the right time. Look at the big fist bump as well. Comes out from his countryman just to his right. Again, big moment in the game because Mukamala was really starting to tread on a power-hitting direction.
Slower ball. And Gulshan can't believe it. Difficult chance, but it came straight to him. He's put it down.
It's a chance, and Andres Kels doesn't give you many. You got to take them when they come. Never easy. As a fast bowler, you're falling away to your left. The ball's been struck back to his right. He's stuck out a hand, but he's got a lot of his mitt out there. Again, take a second look at this. Gulshan Jha very nearly pulled off something remarkable. Just hit him straight in the wrist. How big a moment is this?
This time Jones just taps it back. Going back to the wicket, the other remarkable thing about that Mukamala dismissal is the previous ball that he hit for 6. Hit it to the deepest part of the ground. That was an 85-yard hit. And then the next ball, he's going for the straight boundary, which is only 69 yards from what you said on the pitch report. And yet, he couldn't clear it.
Again, just a little bit quicker. That was the difference. Didn't get the time to get underneath the ball. The length also a touch fuller. And Mukamala, he did well enough, but really well done by Nepal.
Jones just swats this out to the short boundary at a deep mid-wicket for 1. And that'll wrap up an 8-run over. It's 104 for 2 after 13.
Well, it's a festival feel, doesn't it, on a Saturday night under lights. Not the Friday night lights of Texas high school or college football. No, it's all about cricket here tonight in Grand Prairie. 7 overs remain. The game hangs in the balance. As Aaron Jones, who has this little habit, doesn't he, of starting slowly, whether it be in American colours or like we saw in the CPL final recently, he might just put a little bit of pressure on Andrew's house. Andrew Leonard here with Peter Della Penna to guide you through the last 7 overs. Peter, is this going to the final over no matter what from here?
Well, the immediate drama is, will we see a replication of what these two did against Canada, like Ahmad Patel was referencing just before he stepped off the mic, or are we going to see a replication of 2 nights ago when these two teamed up to have Jones run out?
Clipped around the corner, that'll be 4. Not the right line from Sampal Kami. And the easiest of strokes for Jones to get his innings properly underway.
In spite of what he did against Canada when he dismantled the spinners, Jones is somebody who I feel prefer pace on the ball. He likes the ball coming onto the bat with pace, and you see evidence of it right there. Is that one full-length delivery, really a half volley, just on leg stump, and he shuffles across, just guides it between the keeper and 5 leg to the rope.
Worked into the leg side again. That's the larger boundary out there. Dakal will keep it to a single. Yeah, House and Mukamala were impressive, weren't they? 47 from Mukamala, and House has looked very untroubled in his innings of 43 thus far. After this, Milan Kumar, Shai and Jahangir to come, and then Harmeet Singh kind of into the all-rounders. There is plenty of batting, but they'd like House to be there as late as they can in this chase, USA.
Well, he's been phenomenal since making his debut in April. He's got 5 50s.
Interesting to see Harmeet Singh padded up, Peter, as well, isn't it? Just maybe an indication that Stuart Law wants that flexibility of possibly having the left-hand option earlier than number 7.
Well, not just that, but he's also somebody who can score quickly, whereas Milan Kumar are very similar to Aaron Jones in that they're both players who have a reputation for being slow starters. So if it gets to the 15th, 16th over, by the time one of these two gets dismissed, you'd like Harmeet Singh to come in from the USA perspective, not only because he's a much quicker scorer, but also the left-hand, right-hand aspect.
Round the wicket now, and this floods into the pad. It surely is going to have pitched outside leg, but the umpire says no. The finger goes up, and Aaron Jones cannot believe it. It's close to impossible to get one from around the wicket unless it straightens. Unless the umpire's saying it's pitched on leg, and it's going to go on and hit off. Big moment in the match here. Jones adjudged LBW.
Well, there was plenty of noise on social media the other night. We'll try and get the wicket delivery coming up. But there was plenty of noise on social media about the umpiring decisions that went almost entirely one way in USA's favor Thursday night. That doesn't appear to be the case here. Aaron Jones out for 7. It's 110 for 3.
Here's the replay, Peter. Surely this has to have pitched outside leg because of the angle. And it's not pitched outside leg by a bit. It's pitched outside leg by a long way.
Well, I wonder if we'll see all the Nepal fans clip that one and put it on social media after all the complaints they had on Thursday night, because that one is one. It'll be a long time before they get an LBW decision that generous in their favor again. I'll tell you that much, Lenny.
Milan Kumar to the crease. Now, he's someone who is known as starting a bit slowly. When the outside edge is beaten, all of a sudden the Nepal fans who are outnumbering the USA ones by a margin in Grand Prairie are living and breathing every ball. 14 overs bowled. It's 110 for 3. Well, a big moment in the match. Aaron Jones, the hero against Canada at this venue, the hero in the CPL final less than a couple of weeks ago. St. Lucia lifted the title. He's been adjudged LBW from a decision that, as you rightly said, Peter Della Penna, there was a lot of Nepal fans not too pleased 48 hours ago, but they definitely, well, there's no doubt about it, they've got one going in their favour here with the big wicket of Jones. Rijan Dakal is going to bowl his 4th. The 15th over of the match. That will be his final one. And it's set up perfectly, isn't it? 10 runs per over required.
That was not the birthday gift that Aaron Jones was expecting from Aditya Gajar. I'll tell you that much. Just watch this. Sumbul Kami has blown out the candles on Aaron Jones' innings. And he's saying, wait, this is my birthday. What are you doing?
Not quite the 30th birthday present that Aaron Jones would have wanted. Interesting call this, isn't it, from Rohit Powdell to go with Dakal here. It's probably an indication that we're not going to see Kushal Bertel or Rohit Powdell himself bowl tonight. And Dipender Singh Airi's only bowled the one. So when is he going to be used? Is Airi going to bowl over 16, 18 and 20? Is he the death bowling option?
I'm surprised to see Rijan Dakal in here. And yeah, are they holding Irie back for 16, 18, 20? If they're going to bowl him out, that's going to be what he has to do. As you can see, a deep backward square, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off, and a cover sweeper, the 5 boundary riders for Nepal at the moment.
And they're going to run a single here, and it's just as well it's not Dipender Singh Airi at cover where he so often is. It's Karen KC. Yeah, a lot of protection in the deep on the leg side, isn't there? He might get away with bringing Rijan Dakal back because of the fact that there's a new man at the crease. But I agree with you. Is it the right call?
Well, time will tell. Everything seems to be going Nepal's way this week, though, Lenny, including that last WW decision. I'm laughing. Aaron Jones definitely isn't laughing in the USA dugout. It was so absurd.
What Nepal will try to do here is bowl as few deliveries as possible in the 5 overs that follow this one to Andrew's house. If they can starve him of strike, bowl to Kumar or the subsequent batters that might follow him should he get out. That may well give Nepal a window to a 2-0 series lead.
Again, the other thing to analyze here, did they make the right decision sending in Milan Kumar? I feel like I said if it happened after the 15th over, I would have advocated for Harmeet Singh to come in. It happened in the 14th. So you can maybe understand why they've gone for Milan. And this is another reason why, because he's a very quick runner between the wickets, very sharp running to turn that into 2, and a sharp relay has zinged Asif Sheikh in a area of the gloves that doesn't have much padding.
Well, it's a good identification for the second from USA of who the fielder was. Nepal have some exceptional fielders. The likes of Bertel, Dipender Singh Airi, Rohit Powdell are all so quick. Anil Saz, a keeper by trade, he's just not quite of that same standard. Now, a direct hit might have been close or very nearly out, but I think it was a pretty well judged 2. There's no way they would have got 2 there to Airi or to Powdell.
And they've got the faster fielders on the deeper side of the ground, the east side, which is the 82-yard boundary, because those are the areas of the ground where they want to try and cut off the second. They've got, as you said, Lenny, a slower fielder on that short side of the ground because, from the Nepal perspective, I think they thought a 2 was far more difficult to take, far less likely, and yet that's what made it so impressive from Milan Kumar. 2s are very difficult to get on that short side of the ground, the west side of the ground, where you've got a 64-yard boundary, and yet he took off and made it by a yard to spare.
Well, Peter, I just took my little stint off there for the 5 or 6 overs to have a wander in and amongst the crowd, and it is fair to say the Nepal fans are enjoying their Saturday night. And we are also seeing a big moment here because it's going to be a no ball, and we believe that this is for a fielding decision. There's boos from the crowd. Possibly one of the fielders who was on the edge of the 30-yard circle was adjudged to have been out of the 30-yard circle. So what was a good result for Nepal with a dot ball has now turned into a no ball and a free hit to follow. Another moment of controversy.
I think it was Gulshan Jha at backward point.
Well, it's hit to KC. He's not going to go for the catch because it was a free hit. So it's only cost 1 additional run, but there will be another ball to follow. How could either of the 2 umpires have seen that he was out of the circle from their position?
Well, that's what Gulshan Jha wants to know, because he was waving his arms like, how could you call a fielding restriction no ball? He's claiming he was inside the ring. Samir Bandekar and Aditya Gajar clearly felt otherwise, and maybe that's a slight, ever so slight, evening of decisions on the night, because the Aaron Jones LBW decision
Now, this is slashed away into the offside, not going to carry. And they'll just take the singles. So, the final over of Dakal isn't necessarily the worst for Nepal. But USA still have this target in their sights. 15 have been bowled. It's 118 for 3. So here are the options, Peter. We've seen just the one over of Dipendra Singh Airi. Sagar Dakal has been a little expensive tonight. He's been picked up upon by Andries House quite a lot. I've been a bit surprised by the amount of seam that Rohit Paudel is favouring. He does have plenty of part-time spin options, the likes of Kushal Bertel and himself, even though there is no Kushal Malla in the team. He seems to think as though the pace on the ball is the way to go. And Sampal Kami is going to continue. So that means that Dipendra Singh Airi now can't bowl his allocation. Strange choice, or do you feel it's the right one given the conditions?
Well, if you're Sampal Kami and you're Rohit Paudel, you're going to say, hey, if you got that LBW decision against Jones bowling around the wicket, might as well keep him on and keep on bowling around the wicket. You never know. Might get another.
Yeah, certainly. We always try to be fair and call things as we see them here. And we also try to understand the umpires only get one look, but that decision of LBW bemused us. As a misfield from Arif Sheikh is going to cost 1 run, not going to cost 3. They would have got the single anyway, but it just burst through his hands.
That's a fielding moment from the Nepal of at least a decade ago. A while back, they were not the sharpest fielding side in associate cricket. Their fielding standards have risen dramatically in recent years, and that's a callback to the not-so-good days of Nepal cricket fielding-wise.
No ball. And this time, it may be for a front foot overstep. I don't think it was a back foot no ball, but the call was immediate from Aditya Gujar, and it's a second no ball in 2 overs, and the free hit will follow.
And crucially for USA, it's going to be Andries House who faces the free hit. And he's on 48, looking to bring up what would be a 6th half-century in T20 Is for USA. And he looks odds on to get there on this delivery.
Just be a single, hit down to long on. We don't know, was it a front foot or a back foot no ball, but the call was immediate from Aditya Gujar.
Well, USA, in the last 2 overs, they've had 2 free hits, and they've only been able to get 2 singles off of them. So that is a victory for Nepal in the context of this stage of the match. Great damage limitation by the bowlers.
Slapped down the ground. Anil Shah is going to have work to do. And when he does enough, he'll concede a second. Just wonder, is there a little bit of dew out there, Peter? A couple of slips and fumbles, and we see the towel hanging out of the back of Sampal Kami's trousers. 2 nights ago, there was close to no dew. Is it coming in tonight?
Well, the indications are there. As Kami, again, making an adjustment, taking off some sort of extra bandage or strapping that he had on that right leg.
I just got a second look at that no ball on my screen here, Peter. It certainly wasn't a back foot no ball. It must have been a front foot indiscretion as this is pulled away and pulled for 4. The pace on the ball is going the distance. Cannot understand the lack of spin for Nepal, but it's a fine stroke from Milan Kumar. The first boundary of the over.
Well, the only thing I can argue for this strategy is that Milan Kumar is an exceptional player of spin. He's an outstanding judge of length against spin. And maybe they felt pace was the better way to go with him at the crease, but He's proven that wrong with shots like that. Too short, latches onto it and gives it a tennis racket backhand swat over wide long on.
Definitely has USA back in charge of this chase. A little inside edge may bring about a second. You've spoken about how quick Kumar is, and he'll take on the fielder and get home comfortably. That over belongs to America. And with 16 bowled, it's 132 for 3. There's no chance of any rain interruption here, Peter, but the DLS par score is always a good barometer, isn't it, of where a game is at. And right now, after 16 overs, USA would need to be 127 for 3, so they're 5 ahead in the chase. And with those assets that they have in hand, Jahangir to come, Harmeet Singh 2, they'd feel as though they should square the series from this position, particularly with that Achilles heel of Nepal, their continued concerns with their death bowling.
Well, Duckworth-Lewis, if you're a fan of having a little action, if you're a fan of Stake and this Stake Stars and Summits series, if you were to look at Stake right now, Duckworth-Lewis is an indication of where the odds are at any state of the game, and USA are favorites right now ahead of Duckworth-Lewis. And unless something goes catastrophically wrong with the amount of firepower they have both at the crease and in reserve, with Jahangir and Harmeet Singh yet to come, it looks like USA is on course to level the series and set up a decider tomorrow night.
Yeah, which would be the perfect end to this inaugural series. But the lack of spin from a country and a nation that is known in its short cricketing history, only been playing international cricket for about 30 years. They are known as prodigious spinners of the ball. Tonight, they've barely bowled any. Remarkably, just 3 overs of spin. It'll be Karen KC to bowl the 17th. And Andries House will get to another T20 I-50. And it's come off 35 deliveries. It was off the Q end of the bat. What a start he has had to international cricket. Signed by the Bakara Avengers now too in the Nepal Premier League. It's a 6th T20 I-50 in just his 22nd match. Peter, he's almost already the leading run scorer in this format for USA, and it's going to be a matter of time now before he overtakes Stephen Taylor.
Extraordinary start to his career. That began in April. 3 50s against Canada, 1 against South Africa in the World Cup, and then 1 in Namibia just the start of the month.
Hit towards the man at cover and taken. It's another twist. With Nepal, there's always a twist. And the cardiac kids have the pulses racing back in Kathmandu again. And it's Karen KC who sends Milan Kumar back. Excellent cover, diving forward from Rijan Dakal.
Small margins can make a big difference. Wasn't sure if this was going to carry. Sometimes fielders stay on their heels for this, but Rijan Dakal lunging forward from the edge of the ring, had no hesitation coming forward for that delivery. It was flat, it was low, but he made sure it carried. Milan Kumar goes for 15. USA 133 for 4 in the 17th.
Well, the Nepal fans, they still believe. They've found a 4th wicket. It still very much is in America's favour with Andries House still at the crease. He's got 50 off 35, but they've got a new man to bowl to. That's Shaihan Jahangir. And Karen KC, who's had a really good tour of North America. Nepal were in Canada before this, playing ODIs and T20s, and alongside Gulshan Jah, KC was the pick of the bowlers. He's done it again. Now, can Jahangir get going early, or can he at least get House on strike? He'll do the latter. How much pressure will Andries House feel right now, Peter?
Not a lot, because he's somebody who's got a very calm demeanor. When he made those 50s against Canada, when he made that 50 in the World Cup against South Africa, you ask him, how are you able to do it so easily? And he just shrugs his shoulders and he says, it's cricket, mate. Come on. It's not that hard. Like, he just has a very relaxed, very matter-of-fact approach. He doesn't get overwhelmed. This is his kind of situation.
37 to win off 21. It's a slower ball. Good skills from KC taking the pace off. Yeah, there's some in South Africa that say that if it wasn't for Quinton de Kock, he may well have actually played for South Africa. He was that highly thought of back in the land of his birth, but having taken a chance at a change in life, like so many of the players who've come across to America, to their new home, he's really embraced things here. He's been outstanding, simply sensational, in fact, in domestic cricket across both minor league, now major league, and he's a real burgeoning star. Heaved into the leg side behind square, great innovation. There's no one at square leg, either in the circle or in the deep, and Jahangir exploits that ruthlessly.
Well, he was clearly aiming for the leg side because you've got a very wide, deep mid-wicket and a long on, but there's an awful lot of real estate on the boundary on that side of the ground. I don't think he meant to get it this fine. Got more of the inside half of the bat than out of the middle, but it wound up working out in Shai and Jahangir's favor.
Remarkably, Peter, he's bowling to a 6-3 field here. I don't think I've ever seen this before, right towards the death. There's only 3 fielders on the leg side. There's 2 men in the circle on the offside. It's sort of a short third. He's going to try and do the same again here. Instead, he goes over the offside. Yeah, there's a long off out there, but it's over his head. What a shot that is! Put down in the crowd. An exceptional strike from Shayan Jahangir has swung the game heavily in USA's favour. The stars and stripes are flying high.
The USA chants are being countered in the crowd. The Nepal fans going silent. The model no longer drumming in the crowd. Shayan Jahangir with that 6 to end the over. 145 for 4 after 17.
Well, those 2 balls have just changed the course of this game, haven't they? Nepal had life, they had hope. How good is this shot?
Well, that was not a bad ball from Karen KC. He got it very wide, and that one is very painful off the noggin of the fan. Come on, you got to use your hands, not your head.
I think it was the shoulder. I don't think it was the face. I think it's into the shoulder, the hoodie.
It wasn't the face.
There.
I thought it was the top of the head. Got the hat. He's maybe got a bruise being covered up.
Sagar Dakal to bowl the 18th. Still no Dipender Singh Airi, and it deflects off Shaihan Jahangir. Is Dipender Singh Airi being underutilised again by Nepal with bat and with ball? He was the player of the match in the first game. He's only bowled 1 over, which had a wicket in it in this second T20I.
Well, you say he's being underutilized. I don't know why Sagar Dakal was only bowling his 3rd over in the 18th. He was their unsung hero 2 nights ago, and I'm scratching my head as to why he was taken off after his 2nd over in the 10th and not brought back until now. It's not just Irie, it's their entire spin arsenal that's been relegated to the background here in this chase.
An audible hush descends upon the ground. Fans know exactly how critical this over is. That's hit through the offside. Really good stroke. Arif Sheikh fields excellently. Cuts off the boundary, but House gets back for the 2nd, even though it's to the shorter side. Every run counts here. It's now 23 to win off 16.
Anal is on the straight boundary at long off. They've got Kushal Patel, who took a catch earlier at long on, still stationed there. Arif Sheikh is at a very wide cover sweeper, almost extra cover sweeper. And they've got a deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square leg on that very deep 82-yard boundary on the east side of the ground.
It appears as though dew is clearly a factor tonight. The players having to dry the ball regularly. This time it'll just be a single again. It's out to that extra cover sweeper, which Arif Sheikh does the work. House is devastating against spin. I think that's one of the reasons we haven't seen as much of Sagar Dakal as we did 2 days ago. And the field is spread. Lots of protection in the deep and the leg side. Long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square. Only fine leg, short fine leg in the circle on the leg side. And the 3 men on the offside are all square of the wicket. Down the ground, and that's going to be all the way. And USA, they can see the finishing line now. The gamble to bowl Dakal as late as the 18th is not paid off. And House's dominance against spin is on show yet again.
USA, the chant goes up again. The Stars and Stripes are fluttering. And the ball is doing more than fluttering off the bat of Andres House. It's thudding into the sight screen. He's been imperious. That's his 4th, 6th, first one since the 8th over. And what a time for it to arrive for USA.
Tries to repeat the dose, but this time doesn't get it. And Kushal Bertel will do the fielding. Do you feel this has been a second innings that it's always easy with hindsight, has maybe been mismanaged a touch by Nepal with their bowling options?
Well, you could say so, based on the success they had Thursday night.
Picked up into the leg side. Now he's got a really good piece of this, but Dipender Singh Airi is out there, and he's not going to drop that. It's such a large boundary. It's incredibly difficult to clear, and Jahangir, he holds out to give us maybe another late twist as Sagar Dakal has his first wicket today.
Well, the sun and red moon, now they're flying. The model is thumping in the crowd. The drums alive. It was there to hit. But as you said, Lenny, you're going to have to clear 82 yards on that side of the ground tonight. We've seen some guys able to do it. Shayan Jahangir not able to on that occasion. Airi, the most dependable of Nepalese fielders, latches onto it. Jahangir out for 14. And USA and the 18th at 156 for 5. They need 15 off the last 2 out balls.
Two overs remain. Karen KC is going to bowl his 4th and final. It's 15 to win off 12. The new man's at the non-striker's end. As Andres House continues along his merry way, can he get back on strike? No, he can't, because the fielding is clean, and it will bring the new man onto strike. Is this a little window for Nepal to maybe pull off a victory from nowhere here? USA, they only need 14 to win off 11.
Harmeet Singh, he's had some very successful cameos for USA with the bat in his brief T20I career. This is his 21st innings, average of 22.61. Check that, average of 18.58 in 16 innings now. I was looking at his bowling stats above his batting stats. He's got a strike rate of 145, though. He can score quickly. All he needs really is singles to get Gauss back on strike, though.
A little slower ball. He might get more than that. He should get 2 because it's the longer boundary on the leg side. And even though it's Dipender Singh Airi, it was weighted perfectly. And that's good knowledge and use of the conditions that I mentioned of the ground. A couple to get Harmeet Singh off the mark.
Well, again, he's a big 6 hitter. But as I said, you don't need 6s here. 12 from 10 with all that expansive real estate on the leg side for the left-hander on the east side of the ground. He just needs to repeat that tap and run shot 4 more times in this over, and they'll be, with the equation, having more balls than runs required.
It's a Yorker. It's it down towards long off. And it's taken. Rohit Patel sends the Nepal fans into ecstasy. And it's another late twist. The attempted Yorker turned into a low full toss, and Harmeet Singh could have hit it anywhere, and all he's done is hit it down the throat of Nepal's captain.
Lenny, I can't believe what I've just seen. We're just talking about all he needs to do is tap ones and twos. He's going for glory here. And when you get a low full toss, it can be very difficult to get underneath it. And that's what we've just seen. And it's almost deja vu of the tied match in Pearland with Aaron Jones. All he needed to do was tap a single. He went for glory, caught on the boundary. Harmeet has almost repeated that in exact fashion. He's out for two. USA 159 for 6 with 9 balls left.
Now we're being treated to a real spectacle on a Saturday night. The local time here in Texas is already past 10:30. Back in Nepal, well, it's barely past 9:15 a.m. But the fans here in Texas, they're mainly chanting Nepal, Nepal. They're on their feet. 9 deliveries remain, 12 to win. Jesse Singh is the new man to the crease, and he's on strike. Given as a wide, and KC can't believe it because he's saying that Jesse Singh has come across his crease and the wide guideline should go with it.
Well, he's got a point. It's a call that could have gone either way. Jesse Singh, as you said, was walking across, premeditated, well before Karen KC delivered that ball. And the wide guidelines is supposed to shift with the striker. That one goes in USA's favor, though.
Big call. Makes it 11 off 9 instead of 12 off 8. Goes across again, gets something on it. And there is a man out there. I think they're just going to be satisfied with the single because it'll get House on strike. Gulshan Jah does really well out at deep backward point. Law 22, Peter. The guideline should go if the batter goes with it. Now, did Jesse Singh go enough to mean that that shouldn't have been given as a wide?
Well, Samir Bandikar didn't think so. It gets very tricky, very ambiguous, because when the batter moves, that blue painted line doesn't move with him. You don't have that same visual guideline in a set position, and it just becomes a judgment call.
Well, how good's that fan in the cable knit jumper? Sliced away. 2 men out there. They'll converge upon it. Will they be able to stop the second? They might. There's chaos out there. Jesse Singh turns down the second. He says to Andrews House, I can't hear you. And Dipendra Singh Airi involved again. Nearly creates a run-out chance. It's only 1 run to the total.
Well, you don't need to hear him. You have to have the knowledge of how deep that throw is. I don't care how good a fielder Dipendra Singh Airi is. It's an 82-yard throw. The second is on. The amount of distance he had to cover laterally, moving from left to right, that's an automatic 2. You take 1 for the throw 7 days a week. And I'm not sure what is going on in Jesse Singh's head that he didn't turn and run and respond to Andrews House. There's no need to wait for a yes or no or a 2-2-2. You just go in that situation.
Well, now this has to be a free hit. They need House on strike in the final ball. 2, 4, or 6 USA want. And they may well get it because Dipendra Singh Airi will hair around, but he won't be able to stop the second. He will cut off the 4. It's a good result for USA. They get 2. House is on strike. It's all going down to the 20th and final over. It's 164 for 6. Peter, who bowls the final over? Do they turn to Dipendra Singh Airi? It's 6 for a super over, 7 to win it. They've got the options of Sampal Kami, Sagar Dakal, or Dipendra Singh Airi. Who will it be?
Well, based on how they've operated tonight, I can tell they're going to go with pace. Sampal Kami is going to bowl this final over. That's who I thought they would give the ball to. I'm not necessarily saying I agree with it, but based on the strategy they've employed, I'm not surprised It's hard to look away from Dipender Singh Irie with how he's performed with the ball over the course of these two matches, but Rohit Paudel has got a very clear plan in mind. He's stubbornly sticking to it. He's gone with pace. He's continuing to go with pace here. Sampokami is going to come around the wicket, try and angle it across to negate any chance Jesse Singh has to free the arms.
Well, it all comes down to these final 6 balls. USA, they need just 7 to win. And House is on strike, and that could be the best possible result for Nepal. It's a single. It means the new man to the crease, Jesse Singh, who is capable with the bat, no doubt. He's going to have the pressure of this series on his shoulders. He'll be on strike. It's 6 to win off 5.
Well, Jesse is the longest tenured player in this USA squad. Made his debut in 2015. He's going to have to call upon all of that experience to finish off this chase alongside Andries House.
Five balls left. Good batting from Jesse Singh. I think they'll just take the single. They're going to take on the second. Could be a run-out chance if it was picked up cleanly. And it's not. It's fumbled by Arif Sheikh. Not for the first time today either. Big moment in the match. Should they have taken the second?
Yes! Which is what they should have done the previous over, because, again, it's 82 yards out there. That side of the ground, the east side of the ground, it's such a long way to run, such a long way to throw. You've got to put the pressure on the field. That's what they should have done in the previous over. They learned from their conservative mistake in the 19th. They take on the second because, again, USA's got 4 wickets in hand. If they get run out there, so be it. Jesse Singh took the gamble, put the pressure on Arif Sheikh, who, as you said, has not been at his best in the field tonight, and it pays off.
Changing the field. The man who was at cover, Gulshan Jazz, come in to kind of try and plug that gap. He's come into a square leg, almost saving the single. USA are just a boundary away. Any boundary will do. Even an edge. Big gap between the keeper and that short third. 4 to win off 4. That's where the ball goes. It will be a single. Dakal wisely chooses not to throw it. It means that House could put the finishing touches on this match now. 3 to win off 3. Surely Nepal need a wicket, and they need it this ball.
Well, Andries House has had a lot of runs in his USA career so far, especially in T20 cricket. But he hasn't really had a signature moment, and this could be it. He's taken them all the way up to the finish line. Can he get them across the finish line is the question. And he's telling Jesse Singh, leave it to me. We'll get us across the line from here. Can he do it, though?
3 to win off 3. Kami to House. Hit in the air towards long on. Kushal Bertel is out there! He takes the catch! Nepal have life! Can they pull the rabbit from the hat? House, the set man, is gone. He can't believe what he's done. And it's all going to go down to the last 2 balls now.
Well, he tried to finish it off in 1 ball. But USA are going to need those last 2 deliveries if they're going to get across the line here. House, that signature moment, is going to have to wait for another day because he tried to clear that very deep boundary on the leg side. It's an 80-plus yard hit to that side of the ground, but Kushal Bertel with his second catch in that position tonight, and House stunned. USA still need 3 to win off the last 2 balls.
House gone for 62, 168 for 7. And Peter, you are not going to believe who's coming in at number 9. I'm not sure who writes these scripts for the associate game, the game that we love. It's that man. It's the pantomime villain. It's Ali Khan.
Well, Ali Khan is somebody who's got a reputation as the type of tail ender who swings wildly, I'm not sure I agree with this. Saurabh Netravalkar is somebody who has a track record of getting bat on ball much more consistently than Ali Khan. And Nash Kenjige, the other option in reserve, both of those guys are players who you can rely on them to get bat on ball. All you need is one here, and then another single to potentially send this to a super over, Lenny. You don't need boundaries. Ali Khan, if you needed 6 to win at this situation, I would send in Ali Khan. I don't necessarily agree with this. I would have sent in Kenjige or Netravalkar just to guarantee you're going to get bat on ball.
The crowd are reaching fever pitch. It's 3 to win off 2. It's an inside edge. It's going to be at least one. Will they think of a second? No, they won't. KC does the fielding. Ali Khan's maybe done his job. He's handed it over to Jesse Singh. And this Stake Stars and Summits trophy, the fate of it, it all comes down to the final delivery of this second T20I. 2 to win for USA. Any wicket or a dot for Nepal. 1 sends us to a super over.
Well, Ali Khan has been in this situation before. If you remember to Antigua in November 2021, it was him and Rusty Tehran who were together at the crease for the final ball when Canada had a brain fade, and the pair of them ran a couple byes to send the match into a super over. Ali Khan is going to need to recall on that experience to make sure he runs here to guarantee anything, a single, a bye, whatever it takes to just get that one run at the minimum to stretch this into a super over. 1 to tie for USA, 2 to win with Jesse Singh on strike. They've been in these situations before. Ali Khan has very directly been in this situation before 3 years ago. And Jesse Singh is going to be the man who's got to get USA at least to the line, if not over the line.
Well, there's fielders running everywhere. There was a huge conflab between the captain and some of the senior players. Sampal Kami, he was the one who's been given the faith of the captain to bowl this final over. It all comes down to the final ball. He's done a wonderful job to now. It's 2 to win. 1 sends us to the super over. A dot or a wicket wins it for Nepal. Here we go. It's a short ball. It's pulled into the deep. They'll get the 1. It's Dipender Singh Airi. The throw comes in. It's on the bounce. It's a run out. And we're going to the super over all the way. We can't separate them in normal time. And the fans, they're loving every second. And fittingly, it's Dipender Singh Airi's throw that runs it out for the second. Not quite Lords in 2019, but we have a super over under the Saturday night floodlights in Grand Prairie.
Well, you want to put your best fielder in that position. That was most likely where it was going to go with that ball that Sampal Kami bowled. He bowled it short on purpose. He was playing for a drag into the leg side. He got what he wanted. He got it straight to the fielder he wanted it to go to. And Ali Khan did his job. He bolted like there was no tomorrow from the non-strikers, and he got back comfortably for the second. But Jesse Singh was just struggling to get the momentum going after playing the shot, and he was never going to get back for that second run. And it means we've got bonus cricket, Lenny.
Well, incredible scenes here in Grand Prairie, and I have to say, it's no more than everyone deserves. The organisers, and there's, as always, drama because they're working out exactly what has to happen. It was a short ball. He didn't get a great piece of it, but look at the coolness and the calmness under pressure here of Dipender Singh Airi. It wasn't his usual flat throw. He said, I know I've got time to just lob it in to Asif Sheikh. And Nepal, they'll feel as though they've kind of won that super over. And USA may feel as though they've given it away. They only needed 7 to win from the final over. Kami concedes only 6, and it's 170 apiece. 170, plays 170, and we're off to the super over. And these fans, they're not going to go anywhere. What a contest, and what a gripping piece, again, of the game that we love, associate cricket at its very best.
Well, I said Ali Khan had been in that situation before. I neglected to say Dipender Singh Airi had been in that situation before, Lenny, because in that tied match in Pearland 2 years ago, it was Dipender Singh Airi who teamed up with Karen KC for the run out off the final ball that ensured that match ended in a tie. The alertness from Irie in that situation. Karen KC fielded the ball on the leg side. Irie sprinted in from mid-off to go over the stumps at the bowler's end to collect the relay from Karen KC on that occasion. This time, as you said, didn't try and fire it in at the base of the stumps. He knew he had all the time in the world to just essentially lob in a one-bounce relay. You could see how gentle that throw was from him, despite how deep it was. And it resulted in the run-out. That's going to send this match into a super over.
We're going to overtime. Get a quick look at the cards. 47 for Saiteja Mukamala and 62 the standout innings for Andres House. But it wasn't enough. He got out in the final over. And for the bowling figures, the hero, well, really, Karen KC, again, 3 wickets for him, but a great word for Sampal Kami with his 2-wicket haul. The perplexing thing for all of us, just the one over of Dipendra Singh Irie. And that is the news, that it is officially a tie. We're off to a super over. And what I'm going to do now is explain the rules of a super over to you at home. If you've never watched one before, both sides now must select 3 batters and 1 bowler to play a single additional over each that is going to determine the winner of this match. There are no ties, and remember, we have the potential for multiple super overs in case there is a tie. So USA have elected to go, it looks like, with Andres House and Shaihan Jahangir. And the way it works, the team that is fielding, they stay out there. So USA will bat again, and then there will be a number 3. The interval between the super, only 5 minutes. They will bat these 6 balls, and then the 2 sides will switch over. And then Nepal will come out with their 3 batters. If there are 2 wickets, the super over will be ended short of the 6 balls. And whatever they get, Nepal will have to try and get past. And interestingly, having bowled the final over, the 20th and final, Nepal are going to stick with their man, Sampal Kami, again. And they can also choose which end it is bowled from. So obviously Nepal, with the 2 right-handers at the crease walking out, they're going to go with this same end of the ground.
I disagree with sending Shaihan Jahangir in. If you remember back to the super over that USA had against Pakistan, they had Harmeet Singh in there with Aaron Jones. And a big reason why was because they wanted a left-right combo. If they put in Harmeet Singh with Andres House here, you have a left-hand, right-hand combo, and that helps negate the short side, long side boundary discrepancy. Nepal is facing 2 right-handers here, so they've set the field to bowl to that long side boundary where they got extra protection. It's a lot tougher to score boundaries on that side. If you have a left-hander in there and Harmeet Singh, that neutralizes that in a big way for Nepal. I don't agree with this strategy going into the Super Bowl for USA, and I wonder, is Harmeet Singh going to be the 3rd guy should one of these 2 get out?
Well, here we go. Sampal Kami will bowl to Shaihan Jahangir. We'll get those graphics corrected. We've got House on strike in them, but it's a single to start with, as Anil Sad is the fielding. Remarkably, Peter, this isn't the first tie between these 2 sides. And it's not even the first tie between these 2 sides in Texas, because 2 years ago, you and I were both there in June in Pearland at the Moosa Stadium. It was 2-7-4, played 2-7-4. Tonight, that was in an ODI. That ended up as a tie. There was no super over. We're going to have a victor either way, even if it's going to take multiple super overs.
Well, this is your first super over. First tied match between these 2 sides.
Hit away into the leg side. That's a good result for Nepal. Only a single. Dipendra Singh Irie, the fielder.
I seem to remember you were a little bit under the weather on that tied match. It was me and Ahmad Patel who were on the call that day, Lenny.
They were COVID times, Peter. The less said about them, the better.
I'm glad you're 100% for this occasion, Lenny. But the fans who are here tonight, they're catching cricket fever in a big way, Lenny. Yeah. I wonder if all those people leaving the Kevin Hart show, they might want an encore in Grand Prairie Stadium.
Fill it up. They're loving every second. 2 off, 2 balls. Our graphics just a tiny bit incorrect. Bowls him straight through. And listen to that roar. Sampal Kami is holding his nerve at the death. And Nepal are sensing a win for the ages, pulling it out of the fire. USA in real trouble halfway through this super over.
Well, again, I disagreed with not having Harmeet Singh there. It's not a slight against Cheyenne Jahangir. I just felt like they needed a left-hand, right-hand combo to negate the boundary differential that Nepal was bowling to, and Sobukami takes the pace off the ball. Very clever slower ball there. Cheyenne Jahangir was backing away from leg stump, trying to create room to access the offside. Threw with the shot way too early with pace off the ball. And now Aaron Jones is going to come out to join Andres Kraus with 3 balls left in the super over.
Well, quite remarkable. What a feast and a treat we've been given here on a Saturday night in Texas. An atmosphere that's quite unforgettable, as Aaron Jones is the one who's chosen to walk to the crease. A chance at redemption for him after what was an LBW decision that he clearly didn't agree with.
Well, I said earlier the candles were blown out by Sompo. Is Sompo going to kick the candles over now?
On his 30th birthday, Aaron Jones has 3 balls to work with. And he heaves it into the leg side. Dipendra Singh Airi is out there! USA in the super over. They have only 2 on the board. And Sampal Kami is the hero for Nepal. Surely they're going to go 2-0 up in this series now.
Well, he didn't just kick the candles over, he stomped on them. Not a birthday to remember for Aaron Jones. Sompo, the party pooper for Aaron Jones and the home side here. What bowling by the veteran. He tried to clear that huge boundary, and again, this is why I feel like they should have had Harmeet Singh in there. Having the right-handers try and clear that huge 82-yard boundary is just asking for trouble. If they get a left-hander in there and Harmeet Singh, I don't think they would have had such a calamity in the super over.
What an extraordinary turnaround and turn of events. With 6 balls left, USA only needed 7. Sampal Kami's bowled the next 9, including the super over. He's only conceded 8 runs, and he's picked up 3 wickets. Exceptional bowling from one of Nepal's very best. And with all those concerns and worries over their death bowling, it feels like Nepal are on the precipice of doing something incredibly special here, beating a fine American side on their home soil in this inaugural Stake Stars and Summits trophy. The super over ends with those 2 wickets. USA have only 2 to defend.
Well, and if you recall the super over that USA bowled against Pakistan, Sarabnesh Avolkar bowled it because he had plenty of runs to defend. In this situation, I feel like you got to go with Ali Khan. You need somebody who could blast out the stumps. Sarabnesh Avolkar is not the guy I would pick in this situation. He was the right guy for the situation against Pakistan. USA only has 2 runs to defend here, thanks to Sampal Kami taking 2 wickets in 4 balls in an abbreviated super over. We didn't even get through the 6 balls, Lenny. And now USA with a Himalayan task, trying to defend 2 runs here, Lenny.
They're looking more than a touch forlorn, aren't they? Strolling out to the middle. They know it's all but a lost cause. Remarkable scenes here in the Stake Stars and Summits trophy.
सुपर ओभर नेपालले जित दर्ता गर्न सकेपछि आज मौका छ नेपाली टिमलाई लास्ट ओभरमा सोमपाल कामीले 7 रन रोकिदिए सुपर ओभरमा सोमपाल कामीले 2टा विकेट निकाल्दिए जसले खराब बलिङ गरेका थिए सुरुवाती क्रममा उसले नै खेलमा नेपाललाई पलटवार गराए खेलमा जित दर्ता गराए र सबै थोक राम्रो भइदियो अन्त्यमा र अब ब्याटिङका लागि 2 ओपनर तयार रहदै अलिक टाइम लाग्ने छ किनकि ब्याटहरू लगाएर तयार हुनु पर्यो र तपाईहरुलाई के लाग्छ कसलाई ओपनिङमा पर्दाखेरि राम्रो भोटतेल र अनिल शाह भोटतेल दिपेन्द्र सिंह ऐरी भोटतेल र अनिल भए पनि हुन्छ किनकि दिपेन्द्रलाई बरु यो पछि राख्दा पनि भयो नि त किनकि बाइ चान्स विकेट गइहाल्यो भने टेन्सन हो त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ भोटतेल र अनिल शाह या आसिफ चाहिँ भए पनि हुन्छ किनकि आसिफले हल्का डिफेन्सिभ रूपमा खेलिदिन्छ 3 रन मात्र चाहिएको हो नि त हामीलाई 3 रन मात्र चाहिएको छ